you say that I've been a better man? Would you tell me, would you tell me it was part of your plan? Would you leave me here covered in sin? Would you call me on the phone just to let it ring? Even if I pick it up, would it not mean a thing when I think I'm not around? It makes me wanna scream. There's no one else here to save, so won't you set me free? Will you save me? Will you leave me here to die? Will you wake me up from the outside of this night? If I wake up in the morning, would I still be okay? And all the things that I left broken, would they get in the way? If you call me and I answer, would it be my mistake? Only time will tell me. What would you say? Will you save me? Will you leave me here to die? Will you wake me up on the outside of this night? Boy, that's my intention, leaving me here wanting more. Will you keep me long enough to make me just go away and all the things that I left broken? Will you save me? Will you leave me here to die? Will you wake me up on the outside of this night? Will you save me? Will you leave me here to cry? Will you wake me up on the outside of this night? You know I'll never leave. You know I want to see you. Pick your head up off your shoulders and smile until tears smile to you. Leave. Will you cut me when I'm dirty? Will you bathe me in the truth? Say your name out loud and claim the reasons why you captured me. Do you believe? It's alright, I'm okay. Finding reasons, don't my eyes touch my face. Hear me breathing, can this fire take away the things that I should say? In this time, find our way. It's the feeling. Find our way. We'll talk about this later. Cannot believe it's through. Then I hear the moonlight give me time. My memory captures you. Do
Been having some weird technical issue with the camera. I don't know what's going on here. It keeps shutting off. Camo Studio. What your problem is here? Can you hear me though? That's the question. Can you hear me all right? I'm gonna just do a little mic check, 1, 2. Make sure this thing doesn't fall off. Looks a little sketchy. Camera just kept stopping, and I don't know why. So if it goes black again, we'll see what I have to do. It's very strange. Thank you, James. Great. Thank you, Chance. You're hilarious, James. Appreciate it. Oh, hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the weekend. I had a few people say that my voice was a little low on some of those reading videos I did on author reading books, the new playlist on my channel. And I've had an incredible response from this. So upcoming soon, I'm going to keep doing these videos. I might do 4 next week, maybe 5. For sure, 3. But I was going to do one today, and I just ran out of time. I finished edits on. I'll tell you that in a minute. But yeah, it's been interesting. The whole new playlist thing is, the response has been tremendous, and a lot of authors have already said that they want their books read on there. So that's good. Upcoming soon on author reading books, it's going to be, I believe, Sam. You said I could read one of yours, right? I'm going to do one of Sam Nash's books. Sam Nash. Hello, Sam Nash. I'm going to do one of Sam's. I'm going to do Luke Richardson book. I'm going to do, who else do I have? Molly Lerma. I've also got, let's see, I've got a whole list. Richard C. Hale. I'm going to do one of his. Read an excerpt from one of Richard's books. Yes, please, Sam said. I'll do that for sure. Oh, yeah, beach life. Tomlinson was promoting those readings. Yeah, I know. He's going to be one of the ones. Oh, here we go. Why? Why does it keep switching off? That is so strange. 1 second. Let me see. It might just be a... Hold on. It could just be a cord issue. It might just be the cord. I don't know. It's strange. It's never done that before. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Tomlinson's. I'm going to do one of Tomlinson's books. I'm going to do one of Nick's books. Who else? I've talked to a few people already, so I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask a few others. You know, but I've also had some requests, so that's good. That's what I want. I want people to ask me. I don't want to reach out. I don't want to have to find the books because I'm lazy. I just want to read them. I don't want to have to go hunting for them and then like knocking on people's door. Hey, is it okay if I read an excerpt from your book on my new playlist on my channel? I'll put a link to your book in there. Meet me halfway, people. That sounded snide, didn't it? I'm not snide. I'm not a snide person. I just want, I've got a lot going on. I'm writing books, I'm reading books on YouTube now, and so I'm trying to help some other authors out and get them recognized and all that, and get them. Who knows? I might read some big names. You know, if Jimmy Patterson reaches out, you know, I might, but I'll only read Dolly Parton's book, Run Rose Run. That's the only one that I'll read of his on there. I won't do the Alex Cross stuff. Why? Because I like Dolly Parton. She should be our next. She should be. If a one world government does take over, Dolly should be the leader. It shouldn't be the Pope or a president or some government. It should be Dolly Parton. And everything will be just fine. Everything will be great like Dollywood, and everybody will have cinnamon bread. If you've never had that cinnamon bread before, whew, it is good. Yeah, Doug, I'm down here at Beach Life here in Orange Beach, Alabama, and I've never been here before, so this is interesting. Oh, here we go. Oh, come on. See, I thought that was the cord. I'm not even touching anything. What is happening here? Maybe it's salt from the ocean getting in it. I have no idea. This is so strange. I'm going to have to deal with this for 45 minutes. Well, at least I can see the Gulf out there. Although some clouds are coming in. Could be rain on the way. Fine by me. We did our beach time this morning. You know what I mean. I said that like there's some sort of secret innuendo there, but there's not. We did it this morning. I also finished my first round of edits on Heavy Lies the Crown, Dak Harper's Relic Runner Book 4. So that is off to Australia land now to Anne, my second edit. She will be handling that one as usual. So we'll see how quickly she gets that turned around. But here's the plan, guys. Here's the plan for Heavy Lies the Crown. I'm going to announce this, even though Anne hasn't said to. I'm announcing it. July 29, Friday, July 29. I'm going to launch Heavy Lies the Crown, Relic Runner Book 5. And this launch I'm going to do unlike any I've ever done. We're not going to do a pre-order period. Here's why. I'm also going to tell you the other ways that this is going to be different. Unlike any other launch I've ever done, we're going to do a simultaneous launch of the Kindle book, the paperback, the hardcover, and the audio book. So we're going to launch all cuatro versions at the same time. Because that's what the pros do. And I've been a professional writer now for a long time. And I need to make that my operating procedure for everyone, you know, hit it all, right? Here's the other thing. We're not doing pre-orders. Here's why I'm not doing pre-orders this time. Because I'm doing a massive push. I am reaching out to every author I know. I've never done this before. I'm asking every author I know to help me with this. My whole career, I've never reached out to another author and said, hey, would you mind promoting my book to your fans, to your readers? I've never done that because I am shy. I don't like bothering people. And I've always been a little insecure about doing that. I've never asked for help. And so now I'm doing it. I'm asking every single one I can think of. I have a whole list in my phone and I'm just adding to it. Even if might not have even ever helped them before. I know there's been a lot of people I've helped promote, but I've always been too, I don't know, I didn't want to make things awkward and do that, you know. But this time I'm doing it, and here's why. I want this book to hit #1 in the entire Amazon store. And I know that that's a tall order. I know that that is a huge pie in the sky goal. Oh, the camera again. Again with the camera. It's a huge pie in the sky goal. I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's so weird. Maybe it's something on my phone. I don't know. I blame Nick Thacker. I know it's a big goal, guys. By the way, I got to cut today's show a little short because going to get sushi. But Megan made a reservation. So I got to be out of here like absolutely 4:20. I mean 5:20. I know that that's a really high goal, right? But I can do it. And this story's good enough. This story is absolutely worthy of it. So I'm asking everybody I know to tell everybody they know that July 29, that whole weekend, from the Friday to Monday, we're doing a massive push to get that book into the top spot on Amazon. There it is. It's time. You know, this show's Drinks with Dempsey, and I forgot my drink. I was making one. I had a bottle of water somewhere. Now that I'm thirsty, I realize I don't have it. Whoops. But I tell you what I do have is a camera that keeps shutting off for no reason for the first time in 90-something episodes. This is ridiculous. So there you go. That's what I'm shooting for. If you know anybody that can help, I'm all ears. I'll be doing everything I can on my end. So, hello, Jonathan and Cheryl and Bobby and Laura. Chance, what's up? What's up, buddy? Okay, Money Heist. Okay. Hello, Heather LeBlanc. Happy Friday. I like these hashtags. I'm not even going to acknowledge that, James, what you said about that other band whose lead singer went to Lee University for one semester. Wilma! Oh, yeah, for sure. Man, you know what? Why don't you just get in a boat? You're down in the islands, right? Why don't you just get in a boat and drive up through the Gulf and park it right out there on the beach? I saw a center console boat out there earlier, just anchored down. It was the only one there. I'm kind of thinking they're not supposed to do that. I have no idea, because then they left pretty soon after. But or maybe they're just picking somebody up, or dropping off drugs. I have no idea. But yeah, just parking on up. Bring that rum punch right to the balcony here. And we'll just hang out in this nice sea breeze, watching the waves roll in. I'll tell you what, this coastline between here and all the way over, down through Panhandle of Florida and down into Clearwater and Sarasota and all that is just spectacular. But it is really beautiful. But the islands down there, totally different. If that's where you are, maybe it seems like that's what you said you were, or maybe you don't live there. It seems like you said you lived there. What's up, Kathy Hamilton? Gumry, I saw what you said. Thanks. You're very welcome. Glad it helped. Keith's here. Oh, Dr. Kelly, hello. Good to see you again. What's up, Jonathan? I'm glad that you guys like the Jan. I'm glad you like the music. I don't have to worry about licensing with that because I wrote it and recorded it. Expeditionary Force, okay. Just finished watching Umbrella. Well, you can levitate. That's not a hard thing to do. I mean, do you want me to talk about quantum physics during this episode? I can do that. I can talk about quantum physics. It all comes down to belief, essentially. The unified field theory is belief. Pretty much that simple. The believing part is difficult. You've been told your whole life you can't levitate, that it's impossible. So that core belief's rooted deeply in your cellular memories. Oh yeah, it's rooted into the DNA. So you got to unwind all that. But yeah, you can do it. I haven't done it because I don't see the point. Camera, why? It says it's the browser. I wonder if it's a StreamYard issue. If I need to close StreamYard and reopen it, but then the show will end. Well, I've only got like 30 more minutes. It seems like it's doing it about every 15 minutes, guys. Sorry about that. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to do like a dummy test of it here, like maybe this evening, and see if I can root out the problem. I don't want this happening on Coffee Nation. It's one thing to end the week like this, but you don't want to start your week off with technical difficulties. It's crazy. Thank you guys. I see that you can all hear me. Excellent. Oh, Ray Braun's here. Hello, Ray Braun. It's good to see you, my friend. Catching up on all these comments. Michelle, I'm not too far from you right now. I'm not too far at all. At least I'm closer than I was when I was in Tennessee. So, oh, what's up? Just ordered food. Angry. Yeah, man. I did a 27-hour fast earlier this week. So I had a hangry day like that too. Resets everything. What's up, Kathy? Ray McGuire, my guy. Yeah, it looks like the cord. It's probably that. James, you're right. Yeah, exactly. I took it out and plugged it back in, but sometimes, when that thing's in your pocket, it gets a little lint in there or whatever, it doesn't charge correctly. So it could be that. Hopefully. This is the year I have to upgrade phones, though, because right about the 2-year mark, that little charging port gets worn down, doesn't charge as well or as easily, or the battery doesn't last as long. I don't upgrade phones every year. That's one of those things I don't care if I get the brand newest thing. I only do it out of necessity. I'm not going to spend the money on something. Oh, look, that camera's got 3.5 extra pixels. I don't care. The last one was like, when it came out, it was the special. Like, it was amazing. And it still is amazing. And when I get the next one, it'll be even more amazing. But I don't need the one in between because the one before is still great. Sorry, Apple. You make good phones and computers, just not good, cable ports or whatever. I would read your book, though. Well, you know what? Elsie Hayden needs to ask me. Send her. Here's what you do. Wait, him. I don't know why I said her. I don't know Elsie Hayden, so it could be a him or a her right now. This is a Schrodinger's cat moment for authors. Send Elsie Hayden a link to my YouTube playlist, the Author Reading Books playlist. Say, hey, would you like him to do one of your stories like this? He'd be happy to. And all you need to do is tell him, yes, I would like you to do this, and tell me which book. That's it. So any of you guys can do this, by the way. You can all, if you got another author, I know I'm your favorite author. But if you've got like a second favorite author, or, if you want to dig way down into the list of like your 57th favorite author, like right around where Thacker and Tomlinson live, anyone through there, just reach out to them and tell, Now, if it's got like sex and profanity in it, I'm not going to read that on the air. Now, some of these books might have some of that stuff in there, and I haven't seen it because I've just gotten into the first chapters. Typically, that's, I read 50% of the stuff I read does have that, and 50% doesn't. It doesn't bother me, but you guys know I leave it out. I leave it out of my stories. We're at like another 5-minute mark. I'm curious if the camera's going to buzz out again. It's going to. I just know it. Demonic cord from Beast Boys. Yeah. Yeah, this one, I think this was a legit Apple cord. I don't know. Thanks, Ray. That's cool. I'm glad. Everybody seems to be liking it, so this is wonderful. I'm glad. That's what I wanted. I wanted to entertain. Wanted to put other authors on the, in the spotlight. And it's fun. I like entertaining you guys. That's why I do this show. Gosh, I would love it. Listen, if any of y'all have a connection to Dolly, I actually am 1 degree separated from Dolly Parton. But because the guy who recorded my second album, the songs that you hear on the lead into this show, he worked with her. A couple years after he did our second record, he he worked with Dolly, said she was just a lovely person. And she was so sweet and so fun to work with. And so, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm not the type to do that. I'm not the type to go in and be like, hey, Dolly. Oh, I see something here. I see a surprise. I see something interesting here in the bottom corner. Is it a special guest that I have that I didn't tell you about because I wasn't sure when he would arrive or if he would be able to? Bam! Boom! Boom! I can't remember which people like here, Matt. If they like this one or this one.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can hear you. It's wonderful. Yeah, I can see you and hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt James.
I can't hear you.
He can't hear me. Wait, can you guys still hear me? I'm just talking.
Let me see.
Okay, it's a her. Okay, cool. Yeah, you might have to, let's see. I don't think you're muted. You're not muted. Now I can't hear you. Oh, Matt. Technical problems. So you might have to go into your settings and check the microphones and change the audio because we can see you, but you can hear both of us, Kathy said. Okay, they can hear you, Matt, but he can't hear me. That's weird.
Oh, there it is. Got it.
All right.
Got
Great.
it.
Excellent. Yeah, all right, all right.
I never said I was an expert in tech.
No, that's James Slater. That's this guy.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm farther away. Wait, hold on. I'm farther? 4 hours from there and 3.5 to the Nuga? Oh, that doesn't seem right. Okay, whatever. All right, I'm catching up on these comments.
Actually,
Yeah. Yeah, Wilma. I don't do that in my stories for sure. Oh, thank you. Ooh, I like that you qualified living. Can you still talk, Matt? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now, man. You're good.
Cool.
Everybody's good. Ray. What a wise guy. Yeah, maybe we do. I don't have anything.
Yeah.
I have a cup of ice that I was about to pour something, and then I just.
Depending on how long we're going to be here, I have a couple extra. So
You brought a cooler to Drinks with Dempsey.
I'm prepared. Awesome. I didn't know what to do.
I love it. I love it. This is the first time that we've really, just so you guys know, this is like the first time we've really chatted, right?
Yeah, we've known each other for a few years now, but this is actually the first time you or I have actually spoken to one another.
Yeah, it's cool.
It involves a keyboard or meme.
Right.
So this where it up the other way.
I have nothing prepared. Oh, my camera keeps fuzzing out. You see, this is what I've been dealing with all day.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's fine. You know what? I got to go in like 25 minutes, so I can get through it, and then I'll figure out the tech issues later. Which
sure.
Do you guys like the black screen behind us better, or I'm being weird about this, but I keep asking. The Sith have sabotaged it. Well, that would be Megan. Like, she really is like one of those sliders that messes with electronics. Like, she'll walk into a room and like all of a sudden lights will go zzz, zzz, zzz. She's like, I told you. It's a weird thing. Have you ever read Jim Butcher, Matt? He has an effect.
Not really. I mean, I know about it, but I haven't really read into it. No.
Yeah, so his Dresden Files, his guy's like that. Dresden has that. He doesn't get on elevators because of it. So he always takes the stairs. At least he doesn't want to get on the elevators.
No.
So man, So this is great, and just so you guys know, I never have questions prepared for people that come on the show. I don't do that. Nothing's planned. Everything is just me talking. You know, even when I'm just rambling, there's no point. There's no like plot, or outline for it. It's just raw, which is the way it should be. You know, we're just sitting here having drinks together. But I gotta ask, tell the good folks where you're based out of.
I am actually in South Florida. I'm in Wellington, Florida. So,
Oh,
most people probably don't know what Wellington is, but we're part of West Palm Beach, is the larger area, Palm Beach County.
nice.
Yeah, so I'm like an hour and a half north of Miami and like 2.5 hours south of Orlando, and I'm on the coast.
Oh, so you're closer to Eric Dempsey then. My brother, he lives down in Kimball, like close to Miami.
Yeah. That's definitely closer to Miami than me. Absolutely. Yeah.
He was in Miami for a while, but I think they're down there now. Kimball, something like that.
Probably. I think it's Kendall.
Camera, come on, camera. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Oh, it's so annoying, and I can't just fix it right now. Whatever. No. Yes.
It's never that easy. Why would it be that easy?
I am going to let Matt say lots of things. All right, so you're down there in Florida. Have you always lived there?
Yeah, my whole life actually in this area. So born and raised. I've just never left. It's nice down here. I like it down here. It's kind of more suburban in this area. You know, not a lot of big cities in this area. You know, because the biggest cities around here, you know, at least down here, you're talking is your Miamis and or your Orlandos and stuff. Palm Beach County is very widespread, and it's more like smaller little neighborhoods and like smaller cities. Like Wellington has like 40,000 people in it. When I was a kid, there was like barely 20. So I mean, it's grown big, and we're like one of the number 2 destination for the equestrian community in the nation. So we have the Palm Beach Polo Club and like all that stuff out here. So, you know, we're like very seasonal. You'll have like a lot of people that just come in for like 4 months and then they're gone for a lot of the year. So it ends up being kind of quiet for most of the year around here.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I have lived a similar life where I've always been in Chattanooga. I never lived anywhere else yet. But who knows? So I got to ask you, I read an excerpt from the Roosevelt Conspiracy.
Yep.
And
thank you for that. That was cool.
No, yeah, thank you. You're welcome, but thank you. It's great. Tell us a little bit about where the idea for this story came from. And by the way, guys, if you have questions for Matt, type them into the comments. I'm happy to post them on there, and we'll try to get to them. We got about 20 more minutes, and then I got to dip out to go to dinner. So I got to cut it 10 minutes short today. But
so really the gist of that was Jack's character, number 1, Jack Riley, who's the protag of the series. At the time, he is a Yellowstone Ranger, and he's ex-military, ex-Delta. Mission went south in Mosul, Iraq, while they were fighting, and he ultimately retired because of it. A big problem with PTSD, and wanted to live in an area that was quiet, that was easy. It's where he grew up as a kid, and he just kind of moved back home after he retired. And a friend of his through the military had basically a buddy that got him a job as a ranger. His military background, he was really good with like search and rescue. So it was just a natural fit for Jack, and it was peaceful. You know, he got to do something that he was good at, and he got to kind of calm the soul a little bit after a lifetime of fighting, and or an adulthood of fighting. And he just kind of falls into this discovery, to this story, very, very, very much on accident. His mentor and partner in the Rangers, this guy named Tatanka Durham, who he lovingly calls Bull, because why not make a Bull Durham joke?
Nice.
even though Tatanka
Props
actually
for that,
translates
by
to
the way.
Yeah, it kind of translates to buffalo and not bull, and Jack doesn't care, and he's very openly that he just wants to call him Bull Durham. And Bull is just kind of one of those quiet souls, and he just kind of puts up with Jack's kind of immature sense of humor. Even though Jack's in his late 30s, he's a kid at heart, like I hope most of us are. And it's actually Bull's nephew who lives across the state on the eastern border of Wyoming, who ends up having some issues with his boss, who's in the synopsis of the book. You see there's a guy named Bartholomew Creed, who's the owner of the Black Buffalo Resort and Casino, and he's
That's a cool name, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll like pull up weird, how you get inspiration for some names.
Yep.
And I don't know. Creed was always his name. Like I always liked that name, but Bartholomew was just kind of one of those. Probably saw it in some sort of article, and I'm like, I'll have to jot that down and use that later. And
James
just kind of his name.
James Slater is not here anymore. He had to drop out to make supper for his kids. But Creed is his favorite band.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's Scott Stapp.
Hey, there's no accounting for taste, Matt.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were talking names. I mean, that's where Jack comes into play. So, I mean, one of the biggest influences probably for most of us in this industry is Matthew Riley. And my favorite series is Jack West Jr. So I named my character Jack Riley, kind of as an homage to the inspiration behind that series. And like, it meant a lot to me as a reader and then now as a writer. So yeah, names are important for me. You want to be able to make them memorable and stuff like that. And that's why Bull, Hawk is Bull's nephew. So his real name is Shatan, which means hawk. So he's teaming up with Bull and Hawk. So why not? Kind of cool. But it ends up revolving around Teddy Roosevelt, who I know you have an affinity for.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of something that actually came out of nowhere, because the book I wanted to write about Devil's Tower. And just in researching Devil's Tower and finding out more about how it was founded and why, of all places in the country, does Teddy Roosevelt pick it to be the first national monument? It's like, yeah, it's majestic, it's beautiful, it's this, but it seems still kind of outside the box. And I was just like, wow, maybe he has an ulterior motive to do it. I mean, I don't necessarily want to say it's like an evil one by any means, but maybe he just has a reason to protect this landmark with his powers as president. And you kind of figure out what it is and how it develops as the book progresses. And revolves around the seven sisters of Native American myth.
Yeah.
The book originally was actually called The Seven Sisters, but the title was so kind of like, what? And so, and in this case, it revolving around a Teddy Roosevelt conspiracy, the title just obviously switched to something that is far better. So, but yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. It's like, I'll see something that I think would make a cool story, and then I figure out if it works or not. I know you're very much the same way.
It's the same process that I get. You were walking me through. Hey, Allison, you were walking me through my own process right there. I do the exact same thing. I'm like, oh, that seems weird. Why did they do that? Or why is that there? Why do they do it that way? It's exact same thing.
Yeah, and like the first book with Jack, the Forgotten Fortune. I've been dying to figure out a way to write about the Nazi gold train. And figured out a reason to do it. And I think it's the third book I've written where the Nazis are the bad guys. I just, for some reason, love to punch Nazis. So can we say that?
Yeah, that's probably the one violent thing you're still allowed to say.
Probably. I mean, I guess that means that's just me growing up as an Indiana Jones fanatic as well. I have a passion for using the Nazis as bad guys, even though I have a lot of German friends now through books and stuff. And it's like, I don't want to pick on them too much, but there's just it's an easy bad guy, and in this case, there's also a lot of archaeological, myth and lore and stuff surrounding it. So, felt like a great story to kind of lead off what's actually been a very successful series, I will say. I'm blown away by the reception that I'm getting for these Jack Riley books, which is great because I love them. I love writing them.
Well, you have the gift. I mean, your lines flow effortlessly, and you can tell when somebody's really trying, or they just haven't found their voice yet, and they've got some skill, they've got good ideas, they know what makes a good story, but it seems like there's just a few little nuts and bolts they can tighten down to make lines flow a little better and stuff like that. But you don't have, I haven't really seen that issue with you. And I know my first 3 books had that issue. I had, that was an issue that I had, and thanks to my editor Jason, I've changed over the last 12 years or 11 years and really developed. But you've hit it a lot sooner in your career than I did, and that bodes well for you, I think. So
thank you. Yeah, believe me, it was 2014. I started writing my first book, published in the summer of 15. And with literally a high school education and absolutely no background in literature or writing or anything. And I just wanted to write a book. I wanted to tell a story, and not being in any kind of Hollywood type of business, books was kind of the easiest way to do it, since, self-publishing has, taken off. I see a question, Matt, what is your main genre for those that don't know? Oh, live and breathe action adventure. Absolutely like it, or as a lot of us are calling them, archaeological thrillers. So it just, I like the idea of calling it that, because a lot of people hear the word adventure and they think it's more like young adult. And I'm not a thriller author by any means in the traditional sense, but my adventures are thrilling, so it's like they're more over the top. They're more, more serious, but not I know there's lines I don't cross in this series. The language in this series is actually very PG-13 on purpose. Yeah. I have some other series where I'll definitely cross the line with some stuff, but that wasn't what this was supposed to be about. It was more of the action and the subject matter and the bad guys, violence, so thriller works, but it's still a rompy adventure. I
got to ask you this.
Sure.
So before my camera cuts out again. So high school education.
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
I will be 38 in a couple of weeks.
I told you it was going to cut out. Look at that. Right on cue. So you're about 8 or 9 years younger than me. So a lot of authors would hear you say that, and you'd say, well, you didn't go to college. How do you understand a 3-act play, and how do you understand how a story should flow, and how to insert the climaxes here and the challenges here and the victories here and all those things? So I'm gonna ask for them, because I know how it is for me. I didn't learn any of that stuff in college. I learned none of that in Comp 101 or 102. And I'll tell you where I learned it, but I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but I want to know where you learned it from or absorbed it from, because you've got a good handle on it.
It's definitely probably more of the absorb, being I've always been the fan of silver screen, big movies. I just absolutely love, Indiana Jones is always the classic, Goonies, 1999 Mummy, more modern would be Uncharted, Tomb Raider, that kind of stuff. And I've always had a love for history. And I guess the stories themselves is definitely kind of more of the acts of how a movie would develop. So when I write, I write my stories, my chapters in scenes is kind of the way I like to describe it. And I'm kind of picturing it in my head as a movie. Like I have a cast. I literally have a cast. Like if people ask me who would play this in what movie, I have a cast already picked out if I was a Hollywood director. Like that's where like a lot of the inspiration for it comes from. And as far as like the action sequences, I feel like it just kind of comes. I don't really have like a solid grip, honestly, on where it comes from. But I think it's just the fact that I've been such a fanboy of like the story, just the broad story. And that's what I tell people. I'm still relatively fresh in this. I mean, I've been doing it for about 8 years now, but it's one of those things where the storytelling has never been a problem for me. It's just how to apply it. And learning to write. I mean, honestly, it's just, I mean, you start out and you're like, I want to tell a story, but I have no idea how to write. I mean, I literally Googled how to write a book. I mean, that's how I kind of figured out how to like get started. Because I had like the scenes and I had the action sequences, and I'm like, oh man, if the character got into this situation, where would it develop? Where would it go? Where would it do this? And then of course, as you write, you just, that's why I don't overly outline my stories. Maybe a couple of chapters ahead at a time.
Same.
I know authors that are so good at outlining, and the stories come out amazing, and more power to them. But I just can't do it. I just can't do it.
You just described almost entirely the same thing that I do. I told people a while back that a couple times probably on this show and on another show that I learned how to tell stories by watching movies, cartoons, and shows. I used to watch all those shows, and whether it was A-Team or G.I. Joe or Transformers or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, whatever it was, movies, I do the exact same thing, and I outline the exact same way. We've got another question here too, but I just think it's so interesting. I'm curious because I almost wonder if you're not being told the rules made you naturally better. There's no way that you could really necessarily answer that, but it's an interesting thing to ponder because
I mean, I can't add to that. And funny enough that you say that. So my natural writing style is first person present. Because the way I write is a lot of the time how I would react in a specific situation as just me. So a lot of the time the narration, like I've been told by several people, the way I do my like third person past narration is actually very much wrong. Because I don't create what I like to call, which I'm sure other people call, is the Morgan Freeman effect. Where you have the voice that sees everything, that knows everything, that then tells the reader everything. And my point of view, like if it's Jack's point of view in the chapter, usually as the writer, I sit back and go, well, what does Jack know? Because if Jack doesn't know the answer, then how can I reveal the answer?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm almost writing from the perspective of the character, which I know it's like, yes and no. Like there's a lot of inner monologue that ends up coming out with the characters that isn't necessarily the proper way to do it. But I just think it's more natural for me to do it that way. And I haven't heard too many negative reviews over it. So I just keep writing in the way I write. And here we are.
Excellent. No. Look at that question on the screen. You go first. This will be a quick one, and then we've got time for one more question before you wrap it up.
Oh, man. Favorite non-living author.
Is it really that hard?
So this is the embarrassing part. You're actually talking to somebody that pretty much despised literature growing up.
Okay.
So the authors that I like are all current as far as what I used to read. basically, without having a good memory like I do, I probably should have failed all my English classes because I didn't read a single book in high school. So, or required reading. So I would fail the exam on the book and then, or I would fail the study guide on the book and then ace the exam because I would just remember the answers.
Yeah.
And I'm just not a literature reader. I'm probably because the genres are just absolutely nothing I'm interested in as like a moviegoer. So like old school, I didn't read a lot. That wasn't like comics and like kid stuff, I guess.
Okay.
So I was approached by my 11th grade English teacher for an extra credit assignment to get my grade to an A. And she asked me to read Meg by Steve Alton. And I had no idea who Steve Alton was. So you're talking like 2002. A lot of people probably didn't know who Steve Alton was back then. And she gave me a brief of what the book was about. And I'm like, oh, 60, 70-foot great white, terrorizing California and blah, 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 this, whatever. I'm like, I could read that. And I think I read the book in like 4 days. And my mom was like literally crying because I'd actually gone out of my way to read a book.
Nice.
And I think that's all it was, is required reading to me makes no sense. It just doesn't. And that's probably more of a philosophical belief. But it for me, it's probably just the wrong genre. I don't know a single teenager alive that enjoys reading that stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Again, that's just my opinion because I guess I was that kid.
Doug,
So, you know,
I will be more concise with my answer. Oh, look, of course I disappear off the screen. Oh, I gotta get.
we can still hear you though. We can still hear you.
Yeah. Probably best to be heard and not seen. I will be concise, Doug. Alexander Dumas. Final answer. That's my favorite. Oh, I've got an echo. Great. So, okay, another question for you, Matt, before we go.
Sure. Oh, so she actually. Thank you. So that's actually Jack, not Matthew Riley.
Oh, sorry. Really quick, for those who are listening to this while they're on their Pelotons, Allison asked a question for Matt James. Riley had some tough times when his grandmother died. Has that come from a personal experience?
Yeah. So I guess back up a second. So in The Forgotten Fortune, Jack's debut, his grandmother is Agatha Riley, and her name is actually Agatha Catherine Strzemka. And my dad's mother, my grandmother was Virginia Catherine Strzemka. And my grandmother moved to the U.S. When she was young. She was Polish and moved to the U.S. before World War II. And I kind of wanted to, because the book was going to revolve around the Nazis, specifically World War II Nazis, I wanted to revolve and bring in some of like, I don't want to say my family's personal history with World War II. My grandpa fought in World War II in the Army. Jack's grandfather fought in World War II. He was with the British Army, though. And it's kind of one of those things where I wanted to pay homage to my grandmother and kind of include her namesake and not really her story, because she wasn't a victim of the war personally. But it's kind of an experience where, so Jack's background is that his parents die when he's 6, and they're in Peru taking a flight to look at the Nazca lines, and their plane goes down and they pass away. Jack is then sent to live with his grandparents, who he likes. You know, he loves his grandparents at that age. And his grandmother becomes a famous historian, and his grandfather becomes like a wealthy businessman, but an adorer of military history. So Jack's personality just kind of is baked, and he's basically grew up in a household full of history and military history, specifically World War II history. And I just wanted to give Jack like the deepest, richest backstory I could, and bring in like sorrow. You know, it's not happy for our heroes all the time. Jack's had a lot of misfortune in his life, whether it's his parents dying at a very young age or tragedy striking in a mission in Mosul with Delta, where he literally watches a suicide bomber who happens to be an 8-year-old kid blow himself up to try and kill Jack. So, and the whole point of him being over there was he was hunting a leader in the Taliban, and the guy used his children as body shields. And I pulled in a lot of what I know from what has happened over there, just not personal experience, but just stories. And I wanted Jack to be basically a very broken man at the beginning of the series. And being able to find himself and heal again as the books progress, realizing that he's not meant to be by himself in the wilderness. He's a man of action. He's meant to be out fighting. And it just happens in this case that he's kind of more of a treasure protector, history protector now than he was. I mean, he killed a lot of terrorists. I don't know what else to call him.
Well,
but
I love it.
It wasn't necessarily personal as far as grandmother. My grandmother did pass away in her 90s from Alzheimer's. And it was tragic to watch her not remember my father, not remember my dad. You know, there's a lot of things that, you know, yes, my relationship with her was very good. But I wouldn't necessarily say it was what kind of inspired, I guess, Jack's relationship with his grandmother. I just wanted to include her.
Okay. My daughter's telling me that we've got to go. I know, honey. I'm aware. I'm wrapping things up. Thank you. So funny. Well, dude, thank you so much for sharing all that with us today, and thank you for being in. And it's been awesome chatting with you, man. Of course, we'll be texting. I'll be texting you. I appreciate you hopping on. Guys, if you want to check out Matt James, you can find him. I recommend the Amazon store. You can find the
MattJamesAuthor.com. My website, MattJamesAuthor.com. I'm all over social media, Facebook, Instagram. Currently writing the 4th Jack Riley book called The Undying Kingdom. Revolving around a subject that you know well, Ernie, is Shangri-La. So this should be a great interpretation, because I know you just did your Where Horizons End. So,
all right.
But I'll be around if anybody needs me. You know where to find me.
All right, buddy. Well, you guys be sure to check out Matt's books, and I will see you all on Sunday morning for Coffee Nation. Matt, thank you so much for joining us, and thank all of you for joining us here today. Really appreciate the support, both for Matt and myself, and for all the other indie audience out there. We'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.
See you later. Thanks.